Hello everybody, and welcome to Gregg's Vintage Workshop, where I'm working to restore history one piece at a time. So it's been a while since I put out a radio video because I've been on hiatus in North Carolina for basically about 6 weeks. Got back a little over a week ago and got a new 3D printer. Been working with that, playing with that, getting to know that because I knew I was going to be using it on this radio. So in tonight's episode, we are going to be continuing the work on the 1929 TRD radio, the Victor. This was the year before they merged with RCA, so it's just a Victor. And previously we started working on the amplifier section, and I rebuilt the condenser can and replaced 2 of the transformers, interstage and the input transformers. And in tonight's episode we will be rebuilding one of the bypass condenser cans. So I'm going to be doing that. I also used the 3D printer to help with that process. So hopefully you guys will get an idea of how it's going to help me out with what I'm going to be doing on this radio. I wish I would have had it, a few months ago when I was working on the condenser can and the transformer cans. Anyway, without further ado, let's get started on that. I hope you enjoy. Let's get going. Okay, so back on this 29 Victor, I haven't cleaned any of this up yet. I'm going to wait and do that after I rebuild this bypass condenser. So this bypass condenser consists of 3 condensers. It's got a 0.1 here, and a 0.1 here, and over here is a 0.125. I don't have a 0.125. I'm going to put a 0.18 in here. These will be 0.1. I got to get this apart. But let's go in and take a look at this on the schematic. I was going to show you on my little schematic, but it's so tiny I can't even see it, so I got to put it up on the big screen. So let's go in there. Okay, so got my laptop over here. I got the schematic up on it. I'll go over here to the big screen. So here's the transformer, right? We follow this over. There's that's the one C6, which is the 0.1, the other C6, which is the 0.1, and if we follow them up, here's a motor plug socket. That's for if you have a turntable. I'm pretty sure that's what that's for. But we're going to go ahead and replace what's in here, even though this particular R-32 does not have a turntable. Obviously we want to get everything back the way it was. So we follow this up. Here's this. They both go to ground, and then this particular one is part of the transformer circuit. If we follow it over, if I'm doing this where you can see, it's going over to the pilot lamp, and then it comes back and goes back down to the motor plug. So there's the 2 C6.1 condensers. The 0.125 is hooked into the choke circuit. So let's see if we come over here. Here's the choke. The C11 is the 0.125 that we're going to change. Let's go ahead and get that done. Let me get you set up on a tripod. Okay, so here is the choke, and this is a rubber wire. This is cloth wire here. This wire is rubber wire, and it's all cracked and broken. This is it, and this is where it's going over to the C11 cap, the 0.125. This is the other wire, okay, coming to the transformer, and it is also rubber wire. So I'm probably going to I'll wind up replacing that as well. Okay, and then over here the leads from the 0.1 caps. Now luckily they're cloth, so they all basically connect to ground, and they're doing it through the brass rivet and the connection here at this case. So we're going to take this case apart so we can replace those caps. I'll get you on the tripod. Okay, so it appears that there's a solder joint here and on the opposite side that actually hold this can lid and ground it to the frame. So I'm going to see if I can heat those up and get them off. There's the one. Let's see if we can get the other one. Yeah, just like that. Alright, so that's going to be the 0.125. Now, this is tar, so I'll have to take that apart. And then this one is going to also be tar. But I am wondering, I see some little tabs on this, and I'm wondering if I can bend these tabs and peel this up so I can get the block out. We're going to give that a shot, but I got to get this these wires loose off of it first. Let's see the best way to do that. I think I'm going to use some, I think I'll use my desoldering tool. Okay, so what I've done so far, I don't know if you can see them or not in this camera angle, but there was a tab here, 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 and on the bottom that was holding the block in there. This can is metal, but it's a folded metal, four-sided folded metal, and I severed these two little spot welds that were here, and I am planning, and I got my wires off, and I'm planning on trying to lift this thing off. I don't have a metal putty knife per se. I'm trying to keep from deforming it too much, because this is a tar block and I would like to get it out in one piece if at all possible, and I'm thinking that maybe I can heat it with my heat gun and get it to pull out. I don't know that for sure, but I'm hoping. I just pried the side off here a little bit just then. I'm going to try this other side. Like I said, this is a manufactured can that the sides are all separate. See if I can get this side to come loose, and that then we might be able to get that block out without heating it. Pry that side out a little bit. And it looks like we might be loose, at least with this portion of it. I don't know if the tar is going to come with it or not. Doesn't look like it. Alright, so I probably will still have to heat this to get it out. So let me get the heat gun hooked up and we will put some heat to it. Yep, it looks like it's going to come out. There it comes. There it is. I still got a connection in there because it's grounded to the can. That's what that wire right there is. Let me finish getting this off and we'll come back. Okay, so if you guys hear my heater in the background, that's what it is. So these are the 2 0.1s I'm going to be using, and I'm up there 3D printing a block that I've made that's going to fit right into this can, still utilize this and house these two. So that's not ready, but when it is, we'll show you. So this one is going to go in this can, and this one shouldn't require any type of a block for it. I just got to get this one apart. Let's see if we can get that apart real quick. shouldn't take that much to get this one apart, I wouldn't think. A little bit of heat maybe. Once I get the tabs bent over. A little piece of fish paper in here. Should be able to reuse that, I would think. Maybe. Actually, I think it's probably on the back side of that. Well, I ripped it in half. It was coming out. I could see it was coming out. I guess I should have heated it up. Nope, it's coming out. There it is. Okay. So yeah, it was a piece of fish paper that went around it, as you can see here. It's stuck to it. But I should be able to get that off of there and reuse it. Well, maybe not reuse it, but I've got my own fish paper I can use. So this is that crumbly wire. Definitely will be using new wire. So I need to get my cap figured out in that lid, how I'm going to do that, and we shall do that. Cut these wires. And that's that, chunk of tar. So get this can cleaned out here. I may very well go ahead and print something out for that too. Wouldn't be that big of a deal. Make me a little block that'll sit down in here and hold that, and then put the fish paper on top of it. I think I'm going to do that. Okay, so I cleaned this up a little bit. I know it doesn't look like it because I'm not going to wire wheel it or anything. I did take some cleanser and clean in here, not over here yet, just mainly around the block. And then as far as the top of this thing, I cleaned it up some, and then I was going to spray paint it with that. I've got that stainless look paint that I've used previously, but I decided not to use it, and I just coated this with some of the Bow Shield T9 to keep it from corroding any further. So that's what the inside is. Pretty nice on the inside. That's the outside. But I figure this thing's 1929. I don't want to change it up too much. So at this point, I've got this little lead wire tinned going into the block for the ground, and I 3D printed a block to go inside of this to replace the tar block that was in there, that I can put my 2.1 caps in. And I've put one in already, so this is it. And it's got the little holes on the front that are going to line up with this original terminal portion. So it'll be something like this. Get you on the screen where you can see what I'm trying to do, if I can see. Get the right one on there. Like that. Alright. Then that whole thing will stuff into the block. Here's the other cap. See if I can get my wire started in there right. And then we'll just go in there like that. And then the wires will twist on for this. Hoping that this Kodak ZE1 is going to capture this well enough for you guys to see what I'm doing here. Like that. Like that. I'll squeeze those a little bit together. trim these off. Let me cut them over here so I don't have anything drop inside the radio. And there we go. So that's ready to go in there. Now, the next step is going to be, I'm going to bring these together. Alright, since they're both going to be grounded. And then I'm going to solder it to this. And then I'll cram the whole thing in the box. So let me get that done off screen, and I'll bring it back. Okay, so I got that in there. Worked out really perfect. Got it slid in. Got the other plate slid in. Got my rear ground wire all nice and soldered on the lead, and I also left that back open because I figured that way not only did I have the lead, but I have the actual wire leads of the capacitor making contact with the back of the case too, which I wanted to do that, so that way it's just kind of double whammy that it's okay. Got the two wires soldered back on good, so that part's done. So now we got to look at the other part, the top part. This piece here that goes up here and gets soldered onto that. So it goes like this, and it gets the one cap like this. This cap need to go in there. So for that one, I also printed another holder for the cap that will go in there like that. And then this will sit in here like that and coming out. Now I'm going to heat shrink these leads, and I'm also going to put some fish paper. If you remember, this had fish paper, and I'm going to fish paper that in there. So I'm going to make a piece of fish paper that will go on the top and the bottom. I'll hot glue it to this, and I will hot glue it to that, and then we'll get that installed. But I'll bring you back before I get it installed. I want to show you what it all looks like before I stick it on there. Okay, I figured I'd show you what I've got here. So obviously, as I showed you before, we got the slots, and we got it fits in there. I put some heat shrink on both sides of that. It recesses down, sits in there into the slot just like it's supposed to. Now I think I'm just going to put a little dab of hot glue on there. Maybe I'll stick it inside, just cram it down in there like that. Not that it's going to go anywhere anyway, but I think I'm going to do that. And then I get the fish paper on here. Okay, got my little dab of hot glue in there. It's there nice, everything's nice and recessed. It ain't falling out. I made me some fish paper here. If I did this right, hopefully I can poke this through these slots. Of course I can, that's assuming I did it right. One of them came through. Let's see if we can get the other one through. There it is. Okay. Alright, we're in there. Now, I got the little sides folded in. I got that folded in. I might have to shorten this side so this can fold down a little bit, and then this will fold up, and then I can stick it inside the other part. I'll do that off camera and show you when I'm done. But that's where it's going right at the moment. Okay, so I got that in here. I'm going to pull it back out though, because I want to go ahead and solder the wires on this first. That way I can get a good heat shrink on there. I'll bring it back. There she is. All installed in there, and the wires all on, all nice and heat shrink, not making contact or a good distance away from the metal. This one looks a little tight, but it really is not. It looks tighter than this. Anyway, so it's ready to go. So now all I got to do is set it on here and solder it back down like that, and solder it down. That's it. That can's done. All I gotta do is solder the wires back on here. I'll get that done and we'll be back. Okay, so this is all done. I got it all wired up, new wires. I got to replace this wire right here, this running from the transformer back to the big condenser can. Can't see my fingers because I'm off screen, but take my word for it. It's this wire right here. If you can see, the insulation shot to bits on it, and it's crumbly. As you can see, it's missing, and it's just falling apart. So I'm going to replace that wire. Once I replace that wire, I'm going to finish cleaning up this as best I can, just with a little scrub brush, toothbrush. I got a little toothbrush that I scrub it with. Can do that off screen. Got another cap here. It should be 0.002 microfarad cap, and I think we're going to check that right now. Got my little homemade box that I put together for before I had a 3D printer. I put together for my little cheapy component tester. So let's hook that up. Get this on the screen for you to see, hopefully. Maybe. And we'll hook it up and see what we got. Looks like we're hooked up. Hopefully you can see that. Coming out as 2042 picofarads, which that will convert to 0.002 and some change. So looks pretty good. I'm not going to mess with that one. I think that that's going to be perfectly fine. That way we don't have to worry about changing the look of that. And so then we got these two pots. Now these pots are actually wire wound pots. One of them, I believe, is the tone control, and the other one is the hum control. I'm not going to do really anything with those. I'll probably check them just to make sure that they are operational, and other than that, I'm not going to mess with them. And once I do that, all I got left to do is to put my transformer cans back on here and my condenser can. And that's pretty much all I'm going to do with the amplifier section. I don't want to overdo it and wind up screwing it up. So I know that the choke is good. We know now we got good transformers. Rebuilt the condenser can here. Rebuilt this condenser can here. So I think that this one's going to be good. I got to check these resistors. I think I did check these previously. I know that they're supposed to be as equal as possible. Let's see if we show up on this one. This one's coming up as 478K, which these are supposed to be 500s if I remember correctly. And let's see what this one is here. 509K. So I mean they're definitely within tolerance, and I really don't want to change these out since they're dog bones, and they're within tolerance. Let's see if I can get that last one there. I don't have glaring. There we go. 516. So they're supposed to be 500. They're definitely within. All of them are within 10% tolerance. So I'm probably not going to change these. I think we're just going to leave them be. So I think that's about going to be it for this amplifier. I can't put the condenser can or the transformer can back in because I want to paint them first before I put them on. Now, granted, the ones that were on here were probably painted after assembly, but since I already have them off, I want to clean it up and paint those separate and then put them on. So I think I will go ahead and end this particular video on this amplifier because I'm about done with what I can do on it at the moment. I think that the next video we'll start taking a look at the actual radio. I know it's got a lot of issues. I know that the tuning condensers froze up on it at the very least, and it's a very unique and somewhat complicated device, that radio portion of this. So I think that's where we're going to take back up. I'll put this wire back on when I get the condenser cam put back in here, and I'll bring you guys back when I do that, but that's probably going to be several months from now, simply because it's too cold outside for me to do any painting. Like I said, the next one I think we're going to go ahead and start with the radio itself. I appreciate you guys watching. It wasn't a big eventful video today, but trying to keep them shorter, keep people's attention better, and not be so boring. So anyway, from Greg at Gregg's Vintage Workshop, thanks for watching.